I recently realized that I've been killing myself, or rather letting myself die. I come from a family whereby most people have died at a very young age. People be superstitious and they talk like the reason why most people in my family, in the lineage, have died at such a young age. Some superstition, right? I don't believe in superstition because, I've seen or interacted with some of these family members that died so early, and some of the signs that they presented with, or the different complaints they had throughout their life. They have constant chest pain, right? I remember there is one relative of mine who had constant pain on their left shoulder, somewhere like that. Anyway, it was like a constant thing, and you're sick, you take some pain medication. The other fact or the detail that you need to know is that I'm from Africa. Even though I'm currently living and working in the UAE, I am from Africa, if you couldn't tell from my accent, from my beautiful skin color. Yes, I'm from Africa. I work and live in Dubai. Recently, I realized I have been ignoring, the right word is ignoring, some of these symptoms because they're not all that such a big discomfort. You have some small pain in your shoulder, you have some small pain in your chest. You walk it off, it's fine. So it's a big deal. You don't even need pain medication, which is how I was. I did not need pain medication, right? And I don't know why it did not occur to me to remember the mere fact that so many people have died in my family. I didn't even think about that because, like I told you, the reasons that my family decided upon are very superstitious. And even though I don't believe in superstition, I guess I just accepted those reasons for some reason, because I went to medical school. That is another detail. I went to medical school, so I should understand there is a science, there's a biology to explain some of these things. The other detail I already mentioned, that I'm from Africa. Usually when someone dies, it's it's very sad and you mourn and you just move on with your life. Rarely do people do postmortem, because especially these people are dying natural death. It's not like they've been killed. So if someone falls really ill, you take them to the hospital and they die. Sometimes the doctors don't even mention the cause. The other thing about Africa is that sometimes there are so many other diseases going around, like diarrhea, it's going around, malaria. So someone comes in with malaria and then they die. It is common for someone to die of malaria. You get the point. So many people die of secondary diseases which would be treatable, which are treatable. They die of those diseases because they have other conditions that they live with. Now, back to me. How did I find out? I was letting myself die. So I have this pain. I could say I've had it for a very long time, to be honest. And I ignore it because I have, in my life journey, I constantly change lifestyle. Maybe sometimes I'm dieting, I diet for a month, and then I feel really good. My body is great. I'm in very good spirits, very good energy because I'm eating properly, right? Then, because the reasons I'm dieting for are usually weight loss. You can tell there's no weight that has been lost over here. But you lose a few kgs and you feel great, you look great, but then you fall back into the previous or other lifestyles of eating junk food, no workouts, no exercise whatsoever. And then the pain comes back. So when it comes back, it's not painful, but it is there. It is not painful, but you feel it. Okay. So with time, for different reasons, I still go exercising. Fine. There's a time I was jogging almost every single day. I had a schedule to jog 3 times a week. So 3 times a week to me, that's almost every single day. And I was very consistent. So again, feeling good, looking good, everything is fine. But then for the past very many months, I've not been working out, I've not been dieting, I've been traveling and eating really poorly. Traveling also takes a toll because it's very tiresome to travel, by the way. It's tiresome for me anyway. because even at some point, because I travel economy, I cannot afford business class yet. So at some point, I had a return flight and I was so ill, I couldn't return on that flight and had to postpone my flight. Remember, postponing sometimes means more costs in terms of hotel. So I traveled from Dubai, where I currently live, and I had gone to tour another country. But returning, I felt, I said, I'm not going to travel when I'm in this condition. Actually, I had food poisoning of the food that I ate from the streets. I shouldn't even be eating food from the streets. My family, I think people are just weak. So when I couldn't travel, I had to rebook a flight, and I made sure I booked business class because I realized I need all the comfort I can get to travel back. I don't want to get very ill before I reach home. Let me catch my breath. This story was prompt. Now, that pain has constantly been there. You can get all the history, all the experiences up until now. When recently I said, you know what, I have some money to spare, and I was reading this book which was talking about how you can make a lot of money and then, work really hard, and you feel like you want to give yourself a good life, but you don't get to enjoy any of it because you die from poor health. And this book was talking about how you should prioritize your health. So it hit me, and thank God I really thought of this. And I'm like, but this pain, every time I work out, it leaves. So I'm like, you know what, it's time to go back to the gym. But before that, I said, let me go check it out. I have some money to spare. Let me go check this out. Let me go check what this pain is. What if it's such a big deal? Boy, oh boy, I'm very much predisposed to having a heart attack. Imagine that. Like, up until this point, I could have just dropped dead. I could have dropped dead. It is so scary to think that I could have dropped dead. What I have, I'm not going to mention, but if you can search about those small chest pains, I'm not going to mention because, again, it's not really about my diagnosis or my prognosis. It's not about that. It's about the mere fact that ignoring living healthy, ignoring exercise, ignoring good diet could be ignoring yourself dying. And I know we all gonna die. You can't be obsessed with living forever, but people dying at 40 before they hit 50 years. No. So I'm still pretty young. I could still die for so many other reasons. But going forward, I'm gonna prioritize my health habits, work out, eat healthy. What is that? Anyway, I'm so hesitant to say eat healthy because, well, am I kidding myself? Anyway, I'm gonna try to eat healthy. Drink water. I drink water. Alright, so this was a prompt video. Now, before I close this video, I would like to talk about, again, my life as a single African woman living and working in Dubai. And the specific thing I want to talk about is no one is in the office to hear what I'm saying. Literally no one. I'm the only one. I am the only one here to hear what I'm saying. I'm at my current job and I recently quit. Now, the thing about working in Dubai or working in the UAE in general is that there is a lot of instability when it comes to employment. Now, employment usually, or let me say your employment visa is obviously tied to your employment. Your visa is tied to your employment. There are very few cases where people have separate visas, like golden visas, whereby they don't need to have a job or to be registered as an employee somewhere for them to have a visa. But most of us clearly don't have the money for the golden visa. So anyway, where the dynamics of employment, the instability of employment, even when you already have this job, when it comes to Dubai especially, leave alone these other Emirates like Abu Dhabi, Ajman, people who work in those areas are usually a little bit more stable, especially if the company is based in that place. Some companies are headquartered in the UAE, in Dubai. They're headquartered in Dubai and will have other branches in these other Emirates, which is usually the case. But a few companies or a few businesses are headquartered in these other Emirates, right? And they might have branches in Dubai. So if your employer is headquartered in another Emirate such as Abu Dhabi, Ajman, usually there is a level of stability. I mean, I've done research about this, I really have. Even at some point, after doing that research, I was so hell bent on finding a job in Abu Dhabi. I remember, because there are so many advantages. Usually these other Emirates are a little bit cheaper as compared to Dubai, but it's very expensive for especially an African. So the job instability is a big issue in the UAE, and the war has not helped. The war made things really worse. The war has led to so many businesses closing, downsizing, and especially in Dubai, so many of us Africans have had to weigh our options in a very smart way. You gotta be so smart. Come to me, and what I'm trying to say is that at my current job, things are down. If you can't tell from how empty this room is, things are really down. But as you know, companies, they don't just close suddenly, It is a slow fade, a very slow fade, a slow closure. One employee goes and the next one. So I realized, you know what? We gotta figure out our next steps. We don't wait to be shown the door. We have to be ready with the next plan. So to cut this long story short, I am moving to another company, and very soon. The secret here is, well, I've sent my resignation. The HR is not in. She's out on leave. And I sent her an email. I hope she read it, but I think she did not. While I could talk to someone who is here, because there are some other people who are closer to the HR department, where I could talk to them and be like, yo, did you get my notice letter? I'm leaving. I'm kind of holding out, either thinking things through again. I've already accepted another position, even signed an offer letter, but I'm thinking, like, some companies, when you're leaving, they don't pay you your last salary. They don't pay your last salary. I'm waiting for the salary to hit, and the salary at the end of this month, because I'm leaving in the middle of the month. So when the salary hits, at least I'll have paid my rent before I move to another country, to another job. Anyway, bye. That's it. We are gonna be taking health seriously.